Yo, what is up? It is Cowboy. It is Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST, February the 8th, and we are officially live. We're live on X, YouTube. We will be live on Rumble soon as they can get their streaming application fixed. So for now, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. If you want to know about what we do, there's a QR code on the top right-hand side of the screen. Go ahead and zap that, and then we'll talk more about what we do towards the end of the show. For now, I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into the content. Let me bring up a screen here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin seems to have broken out. So this could be a breakout. It could also be a fake out. Okay, so we've been talking about for a couple months here that Bitcoin's been in a range, right? So Bitcoin has bounced back and forth, but basically between about 44,300, maybe 44.5, and the bottom of that range has been about 40,500. So it's been about a $4,000 range up and down. And usually with a range like that, you wait until there's a breakout, but we've had a couple of deviations, right? We had a couple of breakouts that did not result in a true breakout as a breakout fake out. We had one here. This was back in on January the 1st, roughly. And this was the result of a fake ETF announcement. And there was a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin, everybody anticipating the ETF. And when the announcement was determined to be false, then the price sold off, went back down to the bottom of that range, and then back to the midpoint very quickly. And then the actual ETF was announced. And as I had predicted, it was a sell the news event where price made its way up to 49,000 or just about, and then went ahead and sold off all the way down to 38,500-ish, right? So I did expect this to happen. Now, there's lots of stories. I've even covered them as to some suspected ideas as to why Bitcoin sold off in this time. You know, there's talk of Grayscale unloading a lot of its Bitcoin due to people selling their Grayscale positions, and Grayscale had to sell their Bitcoin to pay for those redemptions, to pay for those people selling their Grayscale position, right? So that's part of the story. Whether or not it truly caused this sell-off, or whether it exacerbated that sell-off, or whether the sell-off caused it, are like a couple of different concepts. Again, I saw the sell-off coming, so you know that's that. The next item up here, though, is that, of course, it rallied up off of 38,500 and is now back up to this 44,000. It's broken out this high time frame range. We were just talking about this yesterday, how it was in a smaller range. It may break out to the upside. And if this candle, we did have a daily candle close above the and this is not truly a daily candle. I use the 18-hour because of reasons, and it's not to say that the 18-hour is the best time frame to use. I mean, that's just because it works with my algorithms, right? So if you go and start using the 18 hours just because I use it, that may not serve you, right? You don't necessarily, I guarantee you don't trade like I trade. You know, and I don't mean that I'm a better trader than you. What I mean to say is that I have a methodology, and I've tested time frames, and I've gone back and spent literally hundreds and hundreds of hours to determine that the 18-hour works for me. So, you know, I'm just saying it might not work for you, right? But because that works for me, if this 18-hour candle closes in 4.5 hours above the 44,200, above this box, basically, there's a decent probability that the breakout is like going to continue. There's a decent possibility. It doesn't mean that it will. And the breakout simply means price does not head back down into this consolidation that it spent 2.5 months inside of, right? So basically what we have to do is, we have to have some kind of measurement, some snapshot. We got to draw the line somewhere, literally. And so for me, that's the line. If this candle in 4 hours and 24 minutes closes above this box, then for me, the probability of price advancing and heading upward is decent, right? Now, does it advance and head upward for a period of time? How long does it do that for? I mean, there's a lot of questions to ask. But one thing I can tell you is there was a lot of price action back and forth in this area. So if I were to look at the if I were to take a look at the Bitcoin liquidity, right, this might give us some clues. Now, firstly, I'm just going to check the algos really quick. I'm going to look at this crazy screen here, and I can tell you that price is generally bullish. It's bullish against resistance, but right now it is more bullish than anything else. So I would expect price to continue to push upward for at least a few days. It would not, nothing would surprise me, but I would expect price to continue to push upward. And I would expect price to want to grab liquidity from here. But the beauty of crypto and the beauty of Bitcoin is that we actually have the ability to see where the liquidity is at any given time. Now, what I'm about to do is use the Kingfisher.io. The Kingfisher.io is a website that actually looks at the liquidity for Bitcoin, right? And liquidity, what that means is that on the derivatives exchanges, as I spin for free credits here, because I haven't re-upped my subscription, but we'll talk a little bit about the Kingfisher here. But liquidity is basically where people's stop losses are. So let me do just back to the chart here, just to give this a fair shake. The way liquidity works is that on the derivatives exchanges, right, people go long, people go short. People basically, they bet on the price going up. That's called going long, right? And they bet on the price going down. That's called going short. Well, people who bet on the price going long, and this is a bit of a beginner concept because this is the beginner live lab. Let's just say somebody decided to bet on the price going up, and they thought the price would go up to like right here, right where I put this green part of this box. That's where I think price will go to. Now, I am going to have an area where if price doesn't go my way, I'm going to get out of the trade, right? And this is how I limit my losses. That's what, and let's just pretend for a moment that I've done a bunch of calculation and I feel that this is not a trade I'm taking. I'm just doing this as an example, by the way. But let's pretend for a moment that I think price will go to, this is $46,549, right? I'm going to put a line right there so you can see on the right-hand side what that price is, okay? So that's what my thesis is, that price will go to there. Now, my other thesis, and this is all based on measurements, mathematics, and this is not that hard to do, and we teach it over at algofactory.tech, so please come check us out. On the bottom here, you'll see that if the price goes below 43,950, then I get out of that trade, because in this hypothetical scenario, and this is not a real scenario, but in a hypothetical scenario, I've tested, I have some probabilities, and my probabilities tell me in this case that, oh, well, if price goes below 43,945, then chances are this will continue down, right? And the long trade is not on. But if price kind of doesn't quite make it there, then the chances of it going up are actually good chance. So in this case, that's how I have my boundaries established. There's kind of a point of no return where if price goes past here, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's a lost cause. But anything before that, there's a good chance price will head up. Now, again, this is hypothetical. This is not a real trade. But in this case, this scenario with this point of no return is called the stop loss. It's where you stop the loss. It's where the losses accrue and then you get out and there's no more losses. You've defined your loss. It's like, okay, I'm not going to lose any more money. That's it. Well, here's the thing about that. Stop losses are basically a sell order, right? So if you want to go long, you're going to put on buy orders. You're going to buy into the market. If you're going to do what's called going short, right? Or if you're going to exit along, it's literally the same thing as far as the market is concerned. It's a sell order. So if price heads down here to my stop loss, then I have an automatic sell order that kicks in and I sell. I sell my position. So I buy to get into my position. If it goes up to my exit, that's a sell because I'm selling out of the position. If I have bought and price goes down, I have to sell out at a loss right here, right? And so that being the case, this is a sell order, and sell orders and buy orders are both liquidity, right? So when you go on to these derivatives exchanges, we have the ability to see where liquidations occur. Now, liquidations are a little bit different than buy and sell orders, but they are often in the same area. What a liquidation is basically if somebody has gone long or short, they're based on whatever leverage they've used. their trade is going to be automatically sold out for them. And for some reason, a lot of people let that be their stop loss. I don't understand it. But what somebody like me would do is I would calculate the amount of leverage I needed and where that liquidation is, and then I would put my stop loss just above that. I would get crazy like that. But the long and the short of it is a lot of people just don't do that. They just let the liquidation point be their stop loss. Now, the way that market makers make money, right? You're large players, they need a lot of buying and selling to fill their orders, right? These are large players, so large that if they simply bought into the market, they would push the price up. And if they sold into the market, they would push the price down. And that's not good. If you're trying to buy something, you want to get the lowest price. And if you're such a big player that you buy it and it pushes the price up, you're losing money. So what they do is they look at these liquidation points, right? They look at these liquidity points and they plan around those so that all the other traders fill their orders. Okay. So that being the case, you're going to see a lot of price being pushed to that area. The big players understand that they can only make money if price goes into these liquidity points. And so they will literally, through algorithms, through news, through simple market mechanics, they will push price towards these liquidations, right? And in this case, most of the liquidity we can see on the screen is at about 42,400, and it's been there. It's been there for a while. Now, to the upside, there's not a lot of liquidity. Like there's a little bit around 49,000, but in reality, for market makers to make money, either they have to already be in and push the price up, or they have to push the price down to get in. That's if they're expecting the price to go up. The other option is if they expect the price to go down, and they have to play a little bit different of a game. Bitcoin, in my view, is bullish. So until we see until the charts, in my opinion, call for a move down, I do expect the price to move up. And there's not a whole lot of liquidity to the upside. So we're not really left with a lot of tools like those kinds of tools, right? We have to use our more classic tools until liquidity actually builds. We do have the gorilla in the house. What is up, dude?
Hey, brother. A little under the weather at the moment, but I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Did you, were you just like not getting sleep or what?
No, I'm actually feeling like I'm getting sick again.
Oh, did you go make out with the dude over at the BMW place?
No, I went to the zoo, and there was a chimpanzee that caught my eye.
Well, you are a gorilla, so
Yes, I was able to overpower the chimp and have my way with it.
yeah, that's totally that's literally interracial.
It is. It's interracial.
Yeah.
I don't know how my
So-
gorilla family will take to my new chimpanzee bride, but it is what it is.
Girls are racist, bro.
We are very racist, extremely
Yeah.
racist.
Totally racist.
Against orangutans, we can't stand them.
Those big orange heads.
Yep.
I get it.
They're the gingers of the ape world. We don't like them.
and they go and they do movies with like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
and
can't stand it.
Never. I actually, when I was a kid, my parents tried to get me to use Velcro, but I was a total lacist.
That was beautiful.
Like that.
I like that.
That's not bad. Yeah. You know why a dolphin swims so fast?
Because it's trying to get to the other side.
No, they swim with a porpoise.
With a porpoise. Oh God, that's great.
Those are all jokes I made up so I can tell like little kids,
Yeah.
You could tell that to like a little kid. You're not, you're not crossing any lines right there. But they have to be clever to get it. And so you like teach them humor. We're looking here at Bitcoin, and there's not like the price is bullish for the moment. But there's not a lot of liquidity that I can point at to the upside as to where price will go. So I just kind of have to rely on like chart stuff. And so right now, I think a decent target is going to be like in this consolidation up in the 46,000. Now, I don't know, V, I know we talked about some things like 2 Thursdays ago as to what might happen with price. And I don't know if we want, how we like talk about things in the private show and then like weeks later they become true. But Sometimes we don't talk about them for months later. So I don't know what you're willing to talk about right now with the Bitcoin price, what you're willing to reveal, or are we just going to keep that kind of stuff to ourselves?
What's BTC at right now?
It's at 44.8.
Yeah, if it breaches 45, then we're going to 48. But
No, it's already. I mean, and I have a target. My target's between basically 46 and like 47, but that's not even really a target. It's just an area where price will go.
Yeah.
So, well, then there, that's something. The gorilla, like, I think it was after the ETF, and everybody was panicking, and the gorilla talked about what was probably going to happen, and according to his, people that he talks to who buy like millions and millions and millions of dollars of Bitcoin, and he pretty much called what just happened, like the move up from this area, the lack of a move. The lack of a heavy move down was the gorilla called that out. Of course, I have my own. How do I put it? I have my own way of if A then B. So I definitely accounted for this scenario, but the gorilla just said, "No, it's good. This is going to happen," and so it happened. So like, if you're in the private group and you're able to kind of hear what the gorilla has to tell you, he's most of the time correct.
Yep.
And you know that ahead of time. Now it's funny because as traders, emotions are a thing. And so what ends up happening is that sometimes we require, like, we need to see, so many, like, we need to see something happen several times before we trust it. So, if you come into Algo Factory and you stick around, and especially if you list it on Thursdays with the gorilla, after enough months, you'd be like, yeah, this guy's right, like, most of the time.
Yep.
And then you'll start to have more confidence in what he's saying. Because in the moment, like, what happens with traders is that before we see a history of someone being right, it's like we just keep that in mind. And that's just a human thing. It's not like a trader thing. Tech solutions. Well, I mean, tech, I would say Solana's breakout is a function of Bitcoin not falling. So basically, like, people were, because I think Solana's back up above 100 right now. And I need to move my chair here. So basically, I have this like hodgepodge desk that I've like created, and I've attached like a drawer that holds my keyboard. Dude, my setup's chill, man. But it does, because I built it, I gotta like adjust. Solana's breakout, in my opinion, is just gonna be a function of Bitcoin right now. I mean, if you were to go strictly by the price action, I like Solana in the next month or 2 or 3. I like it at 144. We've talked about that. If you were strictly to go by like why this is going up, obviously Solana's fundamentals are fine. The network even went down like 2-3 days ago. I did a whole show on this, and it didn't budge the price. And at that time, and just this is for like just full disclosure, people, like, I told everybody, first of all, I like to tell this story because people just need to understand, like, who knows what around here. But I told people that Solana was a good buy, in my opinion, under $20 in this room. And there are people in Algo Factory who did their own research and realized that what I said was true, and they went ahead and bought Solana under $20, and they're able to pretty much pay for Algo Factory for the rest of their life. So understand that, we give a lot of information in here. Of course, we don't give investment advice, but when I give technical information, then it's a clue for you to go out and do your own research and see what may happen. We got Tech Solutions backing me up here. Tech Solutions, who I believe was around for that. So understand that that's what happened. And this happened again 3 days ago. I did a whole show on this. I put it up on YouTube. I believe I put it up on Rumble, because we're putting everything up on Rumble too. Definitely on X. And understand that when Solana had its like a blockchain failure, when its protocol went down, I told everybody, look, the price only went down by like 2%. And this is an indication that Solana is very strong. The fact that the price did not crumble at a time when Bitcoin was kind of, people thought Bitcoin might fall. And, obviously Bitcoin is pushing back up in the last day or so, last 2 days. But at that time, everything was kind of in limbo, and the market was a little insecure. And so for Solana not to fall and dump really hard, I told everybody that is a sign of strength. And Solana's probably a good buy, or in the 90s here. And lo and behold, it's now up about 10%. more than that from when I mentioned that. So if anybody paid attention and watched that video and then used that as a cue to do their own research, they could be up easily 10% on Solana right now. So just so you understand, this is what we do here. We use technical analysis. I did a little bit of fundamental analysis on that one. And the reason I knew that Solana was good under $20 is because Solana collapsed after FTX, but Solana itself, the actual coin, had no change. Fundamentally, it remained the same. It's just that people panicked and thought Solana was FTX and they sold off, and probably people liquidated Solana because they made so much money on it and had to cover other stuff. Multiple reasons why Solana went down. But I was like, Solana's a great coin. Fundamentals are unchanged. And lo and behold, I'm just letting you know, like, if you pay attention to Algo Factory, and I think I even said this, like, I reiterated it hard to our private group, right? If you just pay attention to us and then like you use that as a cue to do your own research, you can literally make money without even being a member. But if you're a member, then you're going to get the chronic, right? You're going to get the real head stuff. Like you're going to get the deeper info, not just about markets, but about what's going on around the world and geopolitics and how that's going to affect markets, because that's really, in my opinion, like the only thing that truly affects markets is going to be what's happening around the world. Like, oh, so and so company did this and that and the other. Okay, yeah, that, if you're in stocks, maybe that has like a short-term effect, right? But even though I report on the news, like honestly, if I just ignored the news and paid attention to the charts, I would actually do better in trading, which is actually what I do. I don't factor a lot of news into my charts except for those few scenarios like I just described. Let me see, there's a better way to chart this head and shoulders. This is actually more appropriate. So we'll do just this quick Solana look, even though I've already told you my target is like 144. We're going to talk about why that is really quick, and then we're going to head to the private room after the gorilla gives us his send off here. So the way I'm doing these measurements, we teach all the stuff over at Algo Factory day in and day out. So it's not freaking it's not rocket science, even though it's a lot of lines and it looks like you got to be really smart and all that. It's not, you don't have to be a genius to do this, right? Like it just takes time to learn. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. If somebody says, "Hey, come join my trading room and you're going to be a millionaire," like that's bogus, dude. It might happen. I'm not saying it's completely bogus, but if you want to trade successfully, you got, in my opinion, to build your own method, not follow somebody else's. And if it takes a little time and it takes some work, but we'll teach you the basics and then you can flesh it out. And the way I would trade this is, look, these are the local targets. And I like this middle target here at $120. I like that for taking some profit off, because Solana's all-time high is sitting up at 126. And this Fibonacci target is right at 120. And I think that Solana is just going to mob up. I think it's like super strong. Let me look at the algos, or at least let me look at a screen that has a whole bunch of crap on it. And my algos are like mixed in, because I don't want you to think that that's my algo, what you're seeing right now, because it's not. I have like 100 literally algos, but the main like group that I use to trade is a little like different. Long story short, though, looking here, Solana is strong and nothing goes up in a straight line, but I do think Solana will continue up. It could just continue up hard and do like it's been doing. It could just rocket up, right? That's possible, but things usually don't move in a straight line. So we'll see. But I think these are good local targets, 120. And now I might even front run that because that's like a round number. I might go like 119.95. And then for an extended target right now, like for weeks out, maybe I would look at 144. And that's based on this is a Fibonacci extension right here, based on a head to shoulders. And then if I were to do a separate Fibonacci extension based on market structures, based on the prior impulse up. And let me delete this so you all don't get all cross-eyed and confused. You'll see I'm going to leave that 144 up there, and I'm going to leave my 120 target up there. Mind you, this is not broken out yet. This head and shoulders, and by the way, it's also in a range. Neither have broken out. So if you are a range trader, then chances are you're not really authorized to get into this trade yet by range trading rules, right? But The next two targets, once this all breaks out, I'm looking at basically like 159. I mean, it's probably going to go higher. It's probably going to go closer to like 165, really. But to be safe, if I was just trading and not holding, I'd look at 100 and I like 144. I probably would actually front run that too. I'd take it out at about 139. So like 119, 139, 159. Those are the numbers I would literally take profit at if I took this trade. But before I took this trade, I would want it to break out of this range that it has created. Like, you know how Bitcoin broke out of its range? Like we talked about that. And we have another 4 hours for that, for me to be comfortable with saying Bitcoin's out of its range. Well, Solana would need to break out of this for me to be comfortable taking this trade. But once it did, the trade might look something kind of like this. Now, this is a high time frame trade, right? So understand that a lot can happen in the market to disrupt a high time frame trade, which is why I tend not to take these. But eventually, even if like price gets bounced around a lot or whatever, as long as we're seeing a bull market, this is like a pretty handsome trade that I would be comfortable taking. My stop loss, I'd have to calculate. It might look a little different than this, but this is essentially like a high time frame trade that I like right here. So there's a freebie. Yeah, 2020 Cool Cat says it, persistence and patience. This is not get rich quick, folks. But we're also like super cheap, and the grill is going to tell you what we do, and he's going to tell you what that's about. And then please do that and get us out of here, bro.
Listen, guys, here's the deal. Cowboy just made the point that we are pretty cheap. I would say we're very, very, very inexpensive. How inexpensive?
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're fucking free.
We're like, basically free.
We're basically free. When you put these things up on the screen like this, and like people are able to use our research to make money, we're not just free. We're paying for ourselves. But go ahead, V. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole entire thing here, folks. We are $1.66 per day. That is cheaper than a cup of coffee. That is cheaper than a bottle of water at a gas station or anywhere else in any part of the world, any part of the country. Okay, you tell me where you're going to get not only an education on trading, where we teach you how to trade. Hell, on top of that, we teach you how to build the algorithms that trade on your behalf 24/7. And then on top of that, we give you the geostrategic and the geoeconomic, which is very important. So you are months ahead of the curve, months. And that's what separates us from everybody else. And we're going to be offering products where you'll be able to rent or utilize our algorithms that we're creating. Nobody, and I mean nobody on this planet does what we do and do it better than we can. That is a fact, Jack. Okay? So don't sit there. It's 2024. Come on board. Get yourself a crash course in trading. Learn as best as you can and start deploying these trades so that you can be more profitable in this year and have real passive income coming in that makes a positive dent in your bottom line.
Yo, can I break in?
You go ahead, man.
All right, here's the thing about it. Like, we are new. We're the best kept secret out there. The gorilla said it. Nobody does it like we do it. Seriously. Nobody but nobody. Not even close. Not even close. There's a lot of good services out there, and they are good. Even if you paid for those services, you would get value. But our value is so insane. We will be raising the price. We have not marketed out of our own like infrastructure. We have not marketed outside of, and we're going to, and understand that our price is going to go up. We put a $49.99 price on this because we wanted to gather some people who were willing to give us a chance when we were new, right? But at this point, we're proven. So we're going to be raising the price, but the good news is if you do grab us at $50 or $49.99 a month, we're going to let you keep that price. We're going to grandfather that in, and we might even raise that price to $200-$300. We haven't made our decision yet, but it's going to at least double. And on top of that, the indicators that we're going to allow people to rent out every month to subscribe to, like those are going to be 50% discounted for members. If you don't want to be an Algo Factory member, we get it, but you're going to pay twice as much for those indicators. So I just want to throw that out there, V. Yep. I'm done.
Absolutely. So listen, guys, join us. And have a profitable 2024, because I'm telling you right now, I don't know what it's going to look like come 2025. With that being said, Cowboy, let's get into it.